A very good morning to all of you children. Now again I am back here to take your English literature class. Yesterday we had started with Little Woman's second chapter, and that was A Merry Christmas. We had read how the children were very excited to see their presents that were given by their mother. And what were the presents? A book for each one of them, but of different colors, isn't it? What were the different colors? Can anybody tell me what were the different colors books that were given to them? Yes. Now Jo was the first one to see. Her book was red. A small book which was red in color. And then Meg had the same storybook, but it was green in color. Beth's was grey in color, and Amy's was blue. But they were all very excited and happy to get this small present from their mother on Christmas, isn't it? They were now excited. They went down and they saw that a nice breakfast was ready on the table. But when they wanted to wish their mother Happy Christmas and good morning, their mother was not there. So they asked Hannah. Hannah told them that a poor boy had come in the morning to ask for help. And so their mother had gone to help the needy family. So explain that he had come because their mother was ill. The little boy had come and told Mrs. March that their mother was ill and she needed help. And Mrs. March so immediately went there to help the needy family. Now the children waited here. They were getting ready everything. They were getting ready. They were getting their presents. They were arranging them, the presents that they had brought for their mother. So each one brought her present and arranged them in a basket. They were all very excited and they were waiting for their mother to come back. Now Beth had made a handkerchief. How nice my handkerchief looks, said Beth. And Hannah had washed them and marked them, and she had marked them all herself. So but she had written mother on it instead of M. March. So Jo said, why have you written mother instead of M. March? Because she said even Meg is M. March. I wanted specially for mother. So that is the reason she had put mother on the handkerchief. So each one of them had brought their presents and arranged them in a basket, and they were waiting for their mother to come. Now when their mother arrives, so the girls quickly hide the basket because they didn't want to show it to her immediately. They hid the basket behind a curtain. And then they wished their mother very Merry Christmas and thanked her for the small presents that she had given them on Christmas. The books that each one, and they said that every day we are going to read it. So mother was also very happy. She wished the daughters also a very happy or Merry Christmas. But before they sat down for breakfast, she told them about a poor mother who had just given birth to a small baby, and about the 6 other children who were all huddled up together in a bed because it was so cold, trying to keep each other warm. They were hungry. They did not have anything to eat. So she said that she had gone there to see this family. Okay, so now she requested the girls that if you give away your breakfast as a Christmas present to this needy family, they will be extremely happy. Now for a moment the children thought, oh my God, we are so hungry. We had been waiting here for almost an hour to have our breakfast, and they were waiting for their mother to come back. But then when their mother told about this family who was so hungry, they did not have anything to eat. So they said that, Jo immediately said, I'm so happy to her mother that thank God we had not begun eating our food. So I'm so glad that you came before we had begun eating our breakfast. So the girls immediately decide to give their breakfast as a Christmas present to this needy family. So they arrange the things in a basket. They take the children to the needy family. And Mrs. March is extremely happy with her daughters that they decide to. They are so eagerly they are waiting to help the needy family. So this made Mrs. March very happy. So you shall. Then she told the children, "You shall all go with me to help this family. And when we come back, we will have bread and milk for breakfast." But she promises them that we will have plenty to eat at dinner time. So the girls are very happy. They arrange everything, and then they said that, and they go to this poor family. Now, as soon as Mrs. March went in with the mother and the children, they were so happy. They were so surprised. "Oh, it is the good angels who have come to us," said the poor woman who was nursing the baby. Now these girls and Mrs. March, they are being compared to angels, because this poor family was hungry. They did not have anything to eat. And when Mrs. March and her daughters went there with this, all the breakfast that they had prepared for Christmas, to give it to them, the family was very, very happy. They called them, "Their angels have come to help us." And all the food was given to them. They were so happy. Now Hannah had also, because it was so cold, their room was also very cold. Remember, the children were all huddling together in a bed trying to keep each other warm. Now Hannah had taken some wood, so she lit the fire, and soon the room became very warm and comfortable. And Mrs. March made some soft food for the new mother, because she had just given birth to a child. And the rest of the food was distributed among the children. So they all, as they ate and warmed their cold hands in the fire, they were so happy. They said to these Mrs. March and her daughters, "You are angels." Now, when the girls were returning back home, they thought that they were the happiest people in this city, because now they realize what it is to help your neighbors. And so that is loving our neighbor better than ourselves. And I like it, said Meg. So the girls realized that it is an extremely nice feeling to help your neighbors. Now they would have enjoyed their breakfast their mother had prepared. They were very happy. But now when they helped this poor family who had nothing to eat, their whole house was so cold. Now this feeling, this way of helping the family made all the children extremely happy. So they realized that helping your neighbors is better than helping ourselves. And Mrs. March was also very present. Now they came back home, and when Mrs. March went to collect some old clothes also to help this family, the girls arranged the breakfast table. They put flowers among the presents, because they had arranged the presents in a basket, so everything was kept on the table. They had put some flowers also on the table. Then Beth played the piano, and Amy went, and Meg danced, and Joe said, and Amy, "Come on, open the door, Amy," cried Joe, dancing out. Meg went to lead her mother to the best chair. And when mother saw the presents on the table, she was extremely happy, and she was surprised and extremely pleased. She smiled, and her eyes filled with tears. She looked at her presents and read the little notes which were tied to each. She put on the shoes at once. She put a new handkerchief in her pocket, and also put some scent which was given by Amy. She fastened the rose to her dress and said that the gloves fitted also beautifully. And there was a lot of laughing and explaining when breakfast was finished, and all began with the household work. Now we continue the chapter. They spent the afternoon getting ready for the play that they were going to act that evening. Remember, they were practicing to perform a play. So now they were getting, because they had practiced to play it, they to act it on Christmas. So now they spent the afternoon getting ready for the play that they were going to act that evening. The girls had very little money to spend, so they had made what they needed themselves. So they could not go and buy these things because they did not have much money. So they had made the things whatever they needed for the play. Some of the things were very clever. They had made some wonderful dresses from colored bits of old clothes covered with jewels. They made a piano out of stiff paper and used their mother's furniture to make it seem real. So now you need these things for the play, isn't it? So they made some wonderful dresses from colored bits of old clothes covered with jewels. Imagine. Now they made a piano out of a stiff paper, a hard cardboard like paper, and used their mother's furniture to make it seem as if it is a real piano. No men were allowed to be in the audience. On this Christmas night, there were about 12 girls, all friends of the sisters. They sat in front of the bright blue and yellow curtains, waiting in excitement for the play to begin. The girls acted very well. Now everything was arranged, everything was ready. Now no men were allowed to come and see the play. So the audience was all girls. There were 12 girls, all friends of the daughters, of the sisters, isn't it? They sat in front of the bright blue and yellow curtain, waiting in excitement for the play to begin. The girls acted very well. They had a few accidents and made a few mistakes, but this only added to the fun. Now, you should realize that they all practiced themselves only, arranged everything themselves only. So naturally, there may be a few mistakes, but none of them minded this. So there were a few accidents and a few mistakes were also made, but that only added to the fun. When it was all over, the audience cheered loudly, like at a real play. So if you go to a hall to see a play, what happens? The audience claps loudly in order to show their appreciation, isn't it? To encourage the players, those who are acting. Here also the audience, the girls' friends, they also, the moment the play came to an end, they all clapped loudly to cheer the girls, and they liked it just like in a real play. They clapped their hands and cheered the girls. Then Hannah came in and said, "Mrs. March would like you to come down and have supper." This was a surprise even to the actors. When they saw ice cream, cake, fruit, and many sorts of sweets on the table, and in the middle 4 big bunches of beautiful flowers, they looked at each other joyfully. Now there was a surprise waiting for the girls. So after the play was over, Hannah came and announced that Mrs. March would like them to come down and have supper. Now we have breakfast, we have lunch, we have dinner. So supper is in between lunch and dinner, that is supper. This was a surprise. Now even to the actors, the girls also did not know that supper was arranged for all of them. And what was there on the table? They saw ice cream, cake, fruit, many sorts of sweets on the table, and 4 big bunches of flowers, beautiful flowers. They looked at each other. So all the girls were very happy to see this arrangement. They looked at each other happily, joyfully. Where could it all have come from? The girls made many guesses. How did mother arrange all these things? From where did she get it? Where did these things come from? They tried to make guesses, that guessing which someone has given, even saying that perhaps Aunt March had had a good thought and sent it. Now, so they kept on guessing who has given them this beautiful supper. Now they were trying to guess who, maybe even Aunt March must have sent this for them. Mrs. March said, "No, all wrong. Old Mr. Lawrence sent it." So all their guesses were wrong. Mrs. March told them that old Mr. Lawrence had sent it. The Lawrence boy's grandfather. "But we don't even know him," said Meg. "Hannah told one of his servants about your breakfast party and it pleased him." Now they came to know that old Mr. Lawrence had sent this surprise supper for the children. Now they did not know even this person, old Mr. Lawrence, because he was the Lawrence boy's grandfather. So Meg said that we don't even know him. So why did he suddenly send it? So Hannah said that she had told one of his servants about how the girls had given away their breakfast to this poor family as a Christmas present, and that pleased him very much. "He knew my father years ago, and he sent me a polite letter. He said he hoped he could show how friendly he felt to my children. He asked if he could send a few things for Christmas." So, hearing this from his servant, Hannah had told his servants about how the girls had given their breakfast to this needy family as Christmas present. So it pleased him so much that he said that he hoped he could show how friendly he felt to the children. And he asked Mrs. March if he could send a few things for Christmas. "You mean the people who live in the big house next door, don't you?" asked one of the girls. So they really didn't know. So, is it that person who lived in that big house next door? Jo said, "That boy made his grandfather do it. I know he did. I wish we could get to know him. Our cat ran away once and he brought it back." Who is this he? The Lawrence boy. So Jo said, "I'm sure the Lawrence boy made his grandfather do it. I know he did it. I wish we could get to know him. Our cat ran away once and he brought it back. We talked about games and other things, but when he saw Meg coming, he walked away. But I will get to know him sometime. He needs fun and friends. I am sure." So this Lawrence boy was also very lonely. He did not have much company. So these girls decide that we will get to know him in some time, and then because he also needs some company, he also needs some fun and friends. "He is very polite," said Mrs. March. "So I will be pleased if you become his friend, if you have a chance. He brought the flowers and heard the fun upstairs. I think he is rather lonely." So Mrs. March also realizes that this Lawrence boy is very lonely. He does not have any friends. So she also told her daughters that I think I will be pleased if you become friends with this Lawrence boy. "Well, we will have another play sometime and perhaps we can ask him to act. Wouldn't that be fun?" said Jo. So Jo, now when mother said that he had brought the flowers and heard the fun upstairs, and mother said, I feel that he is rather lonely. So Jo said, "Well, next time when we act a play, we will ask him to act also. Wouldn't that be fun?" "I never had such beautiful flowers before," said Meg. "They are lovely." "But Beth's roses are sweeter to me," said Mrs. March, and she smelled the flowers in her bed. Beth went to her and whispered, I wish I could send my bunch to father. I'm afraid he isn't having such a Merry Christmas as we are. So, amidst all this fun and excitement, Beth suddenly misses her father very much. And she says, I feel I could send my bunch of flowers to father. He must be missing Christmas. We are enjoying here, but he isn't having any fun. Such a Merry Christmas as we are having here. So she misses her father very much and wishes to send her bunch of flowers to her father. So we have completed the second lesson. Now, children, you will all read the lesson thoroughly. We will revise it once again the next day, and then I will give you the question answers from this lesson. Okay? Then, children, bye for today.